I wanted to speak about Sonya Massey. I wanted to take my time, wait until more information came out, and I wanted to just speak everything that was on my mind after seeing the video. The video is over 36 minutes long. I have blown it up, slowed it down so I could see everything. I can only speak to what I saw from the video that was released from the state of Illinois. You know, this really bothers me because I have family there. I grew up there. This was not a mistake. This was not an officer feeling he was in danger. This was calculated and cold-blooded murder. July 6th in Springfield, Illinois, Sonya Massey, the mother of 2 children, called 911 suspecting someone lurking outside her home. The responding officers came and knocked on the door twice, then hard 3 times. Grayson said, "Is she dead in there?" To which his partner says, "I hope not." She took some time to answer the door because she was putting on clothing to answer the door for the officers. Also, she was dealing with a mental health issue, which the police had been to her home the previous day for mental health issues. But it was not the 2 responding officers. Grayson is seen visibly upset and mad because she takes so long to answer the door, yelling, "Hurry up." They did not see anyone, and that could have been the end of it. They did search around the house. They looked within her home, and there was no one in the area. They did notice a car, and I believe the windshield was broken, and this sparked some type of investigation, which, if no one was seen around the house, maybe that could have been the noise that she heard when the car window was broken. We don't know. And also, I want to note, Sean Grayson did not have his body cam turned on, but his partner did. After asking her for ID because they entered her home after saying there is no one lurking around her home or prowling around her home, and this was all over a car with a broken window. You could tell that something was going on with her, but she wasn't being combative, she wasn't being aggressive, and she didn't even say any cuss words or any disrespectful words when everything was happening. The responding officers requested she turn a pot of boiling water off on the stove, not to cause a fire, which makes no sense at all to me. He could have went over there and turned it off if he was concerned, because he says something later on after what happened that if he believed that or he was suspicious, I would think he would turn the water off and then pour it out. But they requested she do it. She did as the officers asked and comply with their request. She noticed the officers kind of move away from her, asking why. Grayson stated, "Away from your hot steaming water." Massey then replies, "Away from my hot steaming water," and then said twice, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." She knew what he was, implying and rebuking him, trying to criminalize her by stating she would throw hot boiling water on someone. She called out the entity that was within him, and it and him got pissed. She called out what he was and rebuked him, and it stirred up this murderous energy in him. Rebuke is a expression, sharp disapproval or criticism of someone because of their behavior or actions. His action said that he was stepping away from her as if she had some type of criminal intent. His behavior was deplorable to her to suggest that she would do something to him. In the Bible, the term rebuke is used to convey a strong expression of disapproval, reproof, or correction. It often implies a stern or sharp criticism intending to correct someone's behavior, attitude, or action. The concept of rebuke is closely tied to discipline, correction, and the pursuit of righteousness. And because there was no righteousness within him, it stirred it up in him. She saw the demon within him. She called it out, and it didn't like that at all. And I'm not saying that something took control of him and he had no idea what he was doing, because whatever is attached to him through whatever conduit, he's in agreement with it. But it stirred that up, and he took her out because he was offended by the words, again, "I rebuke you." There was another definition here, a verbal expression of blame. Scripture gives examples of both divine and human rebuke. Apostles issue rebukes and teach the church how to address those in sin. But Grayson said to being told, "I rebuke you, you'd better effing not. I swear to God, I'll effing shoot you right in the face," Grayson said. He then raised his gun and yelled at Massey to drop the effing pot. Massey apologized, looking terrified, put her hands in the air, and at that point you can see the pot holders in her hand. They were red. When I first saw it, I thought that was a pot, but it wasn't. Those were pot holders. And she raised her hand. Then she put the pot holders to cover her face, and she ducked down, scared. This woman with these 2 huge men with deadly weapons. Grayson then opens fire. 3 shots are heard. Now, when I looked at that part, I made it large and I slowed it down and I really looked at it and I didn't see the pot in her hand. Now, when you really listen to it, you have to ignore what's being said and really listen to it. Then you can hear running water, which leads me to believe there was little to no water in the pot. Now, when you really look at it, there is a moment within the video when it slowed down where you can see her raise her hand. The pot is on the edge of the sink. It's silver, and she dug down and she didn't have the pot in her hand. I heard water pour down the drain. So I'm believing that she took the pot holders, took the water off, poured it out, started running water, because for her to turn the water on to run water in the sink after pouring boiling water down the drain doesn't make sense. I believe she poured that water out, set it on the edge, and she was going to put more water in. The second officer went to get his kit and was told not to by Grayson. She was done. It's a headshot. He said that about this woman, like he's playing Call of Duty. He stated he was not taking effing boiling water to the head. Grayson stated, just let her, and didn't finish his statement, saying, there's nothing we can do. They're asking each other if they're good, as if she had an actual weapon and came after them. If you look close at the video, you can see the pot sitting on the edge of the sink, and she had nothing in her hands but the pot holders. Yet they kept screaming, drop the effing pot. The pot must have fell off the edge. And as you continue to watch the video, there is a huge pool of blood as the officer applies pressure. This is horrific. This was monstrous. It sounded like 20 officers were coming to the scene. Grayson stated, is there anything we can do for her? An officer says no. Then Grayson said, I'm not going to waste my med stuff then. An officer asks, where's the gun? Grayson lied and said, no, she came at me with boiling water, and kind of chuckled. Yeah, he said she came at him with boiling water. An officer asks if Grayson was okay. He said, and I quote, I'm good. This effing bitch is crazy. This mother, this daughter, and this friend. I repeat, he said, I'm good. This effing bitch is crazy. Grayson goes on to imply he thinks she lied about seeing someone around her home, had boiling water on the stove, called them so she could throw water on them. She set this up on purpose, were his words. It is what it is. Grayson said he had no choice. He further lied to his fellow officers when asked, did you get hit with water? He said, and I quote, we barely got missed, implying she threw the water at them. In my eyes, the second officer can go straight to hell because he did not step up and do the right thing. And I wanted to give that account of what I heard and what I saw, because I know people have been sharing the video. I have people that I know that watched it. It traumatized them. I'm not going to show it. It's out there. I'll leave a link in the description box. If you haven't already seen it, I would think you already have if you watched it, but I'll leave that link. But I just wanted to give a point by point what I saw and how this came across. And I'm trying to keep my composure until we get to his step grandmother. And then that video probably will be for 18 only. It is no surprise that he would marry into such a family. But continuing on with the updates about this senseless slaying of Sonya Massey. They lied to the family and did not tell them an officer murdered their daughter and mother. It's alleged at one point they said it was self-inflicted. I have read stories, and I believe I did a video, I'll try and find it, where there are black people, men and women, found hanging in a high tree off of a building. One had their hands tied behind their back, and they said it was self-inflicted. It should be no surprise after learning about all of the people who were found in the grave, innocent people. At another point, Massey's loved one was told she had either did this to herself or was taken out by an intruder. Jimmy Crawford Jr., Massey's former partner, said, they tried to make me believe that a neighbor had did it, who added that law enforcement told nurses at the hospital that Massey had did this to herself. Self-inflicted. Like Sandra Bland, Breonna Taylor, and Tatiana Jefferson, Sonya Massey, 36, was gunned down by an officer. In fact, Illinois Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson. After watching the body cam video released by the state of Illinois, the overwhelming majority that watched the video is devastated by the senseless slaying of this young woman. The Sangamon County Coroner's Office autopsy revealed the bullet entered her left eye and exited the back of her upper neck, causing a skull fracture, perforated or placing a hole in her carotid artery, and there was bleeding in her brain. Also, blunt force injury to her right leg. Deputy Sean Grayson has been terminated, charged with first-degree murder, aggravated battery with a firearm, and official misconduct. He pled not guilty to all charges and is being held in Sangamon County Jail. After the family received the autopsy findings, they have been mentally struggling with this. Her son can't sleep and her daughter is having nightmares, terrible nightmares. They're suffering from the senseless murder of their mother. Her father is devastated to never have another moment with his daughter. Massey's son, 17-year-old Malachi, said his mother was a ball of energy who always reminded him to read the Bible. She's the person who taught me how to love. He had no regard for my mom. Sonya Massey's son recalled learning of her death. The teen said he was so grief-stricken by his mother's death that he couldn't describe the pain. I really don't have words. He said, I feel sick. And anyone who's lost a parent, it is an indescribable pain and a disconnect that you feel. The telling thing about Deputy Sean Grayson is he worked for 6 different law enforcement agencies since 2020. That's 4 years. 6 in 4 years. Discharged from the Army for serious misconduct and has 2 DUI convictions. He also failed to obey a command, so he wasn't complying while working for another sheriff's office in Illinois and was told he needed high-stress decision-making classes. Just because Sonya was dealing with some struggles, not one of her actions justified this lynching, because that is what this was, a lynching. And I want to talk a little bit about some people who had something to say about this, one being Candace Owen. Now, Candace Owen seems to not have learned her lesson. She's saying that the slaying of Sonya Massey was not racially motivated, trying to imply the police would have shot a colorless woman in the face over a perceived pot of boiling water. He called her a bitch, etc. Candace Owens is a lost cause, and she's a POS. She's a foreign black that is making it clear she does not dabble in the dark. She is vile, low trash, and I say let them eat her alive. I also wanted to call out the vile clown, Dana Dane. Now, she stated that Sonya threw water on the officers. In that whole 36-minute video, you didn't see not one drop of water go toward either officer. People are saying there is a video where she does pick up the pot and it looks like she's trying to shield herself from the officers. I cannot confirm it. I have not seen it. I can only go by a valid video. And the only one that I have is the state of Illinois video that was released, and you can't see that on there. Now, she has since taken the video down, but not apologized for the insensitivity toward this victim. There is so much going on with this case from them knowing that she suffered from, mental episodes. They had been there the day before, that she posed no threat. She didn't make any sudden movements. She didn't say anything. All she did was called out the energies she saw. She called out the devil that entered her home. She felt that energy on him and called him out on it, and he didn't like it. He was super aggressive from the time he was banging on the door to the way he disrespectfully talked to her, and she still was kind and nice to them. All I can say from my point of view is the same thing that Elijah's mother said, is when their time comes, I hope they burn in hell. I personally hope they rot and burn in hell. And before he does, I want him to suffer. I want him to suffer the loss of a child if he has children, a spouse if he has a spouse, he has a fiance. And seeing how his step-grandmother defends him, I want her to suffer the most. So I need him to suffer before he rots in hell. Because he came there, didn't see a prowler, and he could have left. Other officers are saying, this is disgusting. This was cold-blooded murder. They fired him and charged him with first-degree murder with the quickness. Everybody sees this. This is wrong. And this is not a bad apple. The whole fucking orchard is rotten. I said I'm going to do better on this video. I'm trying to put out the facts, but I'm going to continue this in the video, reading his step-grandmother's statement. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.